Welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the first time we've ever taught a workshop like this for international programs, and it was actually a discussion that arose from the director's visit in Tallahassee on campus last October, where we provided an overview of research resources, and we got a lot of really great feedback about how this would be a great topic to share with our instructors and our faculty at the International Study Centers. So we're putting on this workshop for the first time and talking about research resources that we provide through FSU Libraries that are available to all our faculty and our faculty at our International Study Centers and study abroad. So my name is Lindsay Wharton. I'm the Interim Director of Service Strategies. I'm also the Extended Campus and Distance Services Librarian, and I've been working really closely with international programs to support the students, the instructors, the staff, and to sort of act as a liaison from the libraries to the program since I started in 2014. And I'm going to let Devin introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Devin Soper, and I'm the Director of Digital Research and Scholarship at FSU Libraries.
So today, like I said, provide really a brief introduction of what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to pull up our library website and do sort of the spiel that I do every time I talk to students and faculty about what's available at the libraries, how you can find resources, and just provide a really sort of quick website tour. So maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable going to our website and finding the resources that you need. And then I'm going to hand it over to Devin. And Devin's really the one that's going to be talking about the research resources. And we were hoping in the end to have a discussion where instructors and faculty could share what their research is, where they are in their projects, maybe about roadblocks and ways that we could help. We don't have many participants here live with us today, so maybe we'll find a way to continue that discussion asynchronously. And with that, I'm going to get started. So hopefully at some point you've had an opportunity to visit our library website. This is sort of the way to get to university libraries from anywhere, anytime if you're not in Tallahassee. Most of the resources we collect now are electronic, which means they're not actually available browsing our stacks or in our building. They're available through our website. So we have tons of resources and services that are all available at lib.fsu.edu. And using your CAS authentication, so that's your FSU ID, you're able to access our hundreds of databases. We have over 1 million ebooks and all of the sort of scholarly and academic materials that you need. I would suggest when getting started on your research to start with OneSearch. OneSearch is going to search our physical collections as well as our electronic collections, finding books, finding articles. If you are actually sort of more into your research, you're probably using more subject-specific databases, which can be found on the search options tab through the database search, the journal search. We also have theses and dissertations, as well as our special collections. And another thing that we have through the libraries is a lot of help and support. We have a chat service that's available anytime the library is open through our Ask Us. We also have subject librarians that can partner with you on your research, help you if you need resources. We have research guides. So there's a lot of options for getting help for your research. And we're always sort of here to work with our faculty and instructors to help them with what they need. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to Devin.
Thanks, Lindsay. Just give me a moment while I share my screen. Can you see that all right?
Sure can.
Great. So I'm happy to have the opportunity to sort of take you through a virtual tour of some of the research resources that we have available through FSU Libraries. I'm going to start with ORCID, and that's sort of an acronym that stands for the Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It's really both an international nonprofit organization and I would say the leading researcher identity technology in the world. It assigns a unique identifier to individual researchers that uniquely distinguishes them from other researchers with the same or similar names. As you know, the research enterprise globally has grown and increases to grow. It's becoming increasingly common that researchers share the same names, and that leads to all sorts of data disambiguation issues when it comes to harvesting information about the research enterprise, about works and grants and academic distinctions and honors and so on. So this is a way to have like a curated record of everything that you would include on your CV, except having all of those works and so on attributed to a unique identifier. So if you were to sign up for ORCID, I encourage that you do so through the orchid.fsu.edu website. There's an option to basically create an ORCID ID or connect an existing ORCID ID if you already have one to FSU systems. And there's a variety of advantages to doing that, which I'll mention in a moment. But before we get to that, I wanted to just give you a quick tour of ORCID itself. So this is my ORCID profile. Other ORCID profiles look more or less like this. You can see there's your unique identifier, which is both a number and a URL that you can share on your CV or various places online. You can add a biography, employment information, education information, invited positions and distinctions, membership and service, for the scholarly associations and societies, for instance, works of all different kinds, including even artistic performances and works that are from the sort of like fine arts disciplines. And then there's also an option to add information about funding as well. So this is publicly what it looks like. You can print a version, you can access a printable version that prints quite well if you wanted to use it as sort of like a short form CV. And of course, all of the information is editable as well. So you can edit each of the fields. You can also set visibility settings. So you can have your information be openly available to anyone in the world, or just available to trusted parties, or only private to you. The advantages of signing up for this are many. One of them that I wanted to mention is that FSU is increasingly developing integrations between campus systems and ORCID. Right now, we have one between the Faculty Expertise and Advancement System, or FEES, and ORCID. Most faculty use this to enter in information about their scholarly and teaching activities in order to prepare for annual evaluations and eventually for promotion and tenure. And so if you have a complete ORCID record, you can push all of that information to FEES more or less automatically. There's a lot of other time-saving aspects to ORCID. More and more publishers and grant funders are using it, and even requiring increasingly researchers to provide an ORCID ID when they submit a manuscript for publication or a proposal for consideration for grant funding. And the advantage of doing that is that once you provide your ORCID ID up front, when you submit something like that, if the publisher or funder has an integration, they can then automatically send the citation information or metadata about your publication or grant to your ORCID profile. So you don't need to manually remember to go back to ORCID and key in information about something that you published or grant that you received. That information should appear automatically in your profile. And then again, you can push it from ORCID to various places, including FSU's FEES system. We're also working on an integration between ORCID and the RAMP research administration system at FSU, which will be helpful. And again, FSU is just one of many organizations that is doing this. It's expected, following some memos and directives from the Office of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy in the summer of 2022, that all applicants for research funding in the United States to federal agencies will need to provide ORCID IDs over the next 3 years. There's going to be different implementation dates for different agencies, but this is fast becoming sort of like standard practice. So lots of reasons to sign up for ORCID. Since I'm just going to move on to the next research resource, but we can answer questions about this whenever you have them. The next one that I want to talk about is called Create FSU. You get there, the URL is called create.fsu.edu. Essentially, this is a web hosting service that the libraries provides, whereby anyone from the FSU community, any faculty member, staff, or student can basically get a website and easily install one of a number of popular content management systems. So from this site, if you were to click login, you'd be taken to a request form, a short web form where you'd sort of like detail what you want the domain name to be and a little bit about the website that you want to create. We would approve that, and then you'd have the ability to, with one click, install one of many content management systems, the most popular one being WordPress. So you can use this for all sorts of applications. I'm going to show you a few examples of how people are using it. One of them is for sort of like new programs at the university. I mean, technically this service isn't for like official departments and colleges and programs of study and that kind of thing, but anything project-based, the university doesn't currently have infrastructure to support apart from Create FSU. So if you have a brand new program that you're starting that maybe isn't officially affiliated with a college or department, this would be a good option for you. So we're using this in some cases. Some of us in the libraries are using this to highlight the work that we're doing within the libraries. There are research groups at the university that are using this to just have a presence online and sort of share information about the people who are involved in their research group, the projects they're working on, their publications, and so on. This kind of thing, can be really helpful, particularly when applying for grant funding, to sort of, demonstrate to funding agencies that you are an official group and that you're having an impact. Instructors are also using Create FSU for pedagogical applications. So this is an example of a course blog at the FSU College of Law, where an instructor created this blog and is having their students, publish sort of like case summaries. There's a lot of good research to suggest that students benefit from being able to engage in this sort of public writing, as opposed to maybe writing like a term paper or an assignment and with the knowledge that only their instructor will see it. In this kind of context, they know that their work will be publicly available online. And in a lot of cases, that's a motivating factor and something that drives them to put in a little bit of extra effort. So yeah, this is one example of how Create FSU can be used in courses as well. I'm going to now move on to the third of the 4 research resources that I wanted to talk about, and that is Florida State Open Publishing. So Florida State Open Publishing is a small academic publishing program that we run in the libraries, and it provides, again, the entire FSU community with the ability to partner with the libraries on publishing books and journals and various other content. We have a couple of digital publishing platforms that I'm going to show you. The first is called Manifold, and it is a book publishing platform. You can see here the sort of like catalog of books that we've published to date. Just a few, but again, we're quite a small operation. So this one that you're looking at right now is a edited volume with chapters from various professors across the United States. You can see there's an option to sort of like download the PDF and view that in your browser. But you also can read all of the text online in HTML, which can be helpful for in lots of ways. Certainly on mobile devices, this is much easier to read and totally responsive, and will resize to fit the device that you're using. There's lots of accessibility options. You can add your own highlights and annotations, and you can switch to dark mode and light mode and that kind of thing. So reading tools that can be helpful and usually aren't easily available when reading a PDF in your browser. So that's Manifold. We're always interested in talking with authors at FSU who are interested in digital publishing. There's in addition to providing access to this, we sort of guide authors through the process of formatting their text so that they look good in this platform. We also assign, standard identifiers like an ISBN and a digital object identifier, or DOI, to make your work more easily citable and readily discoverable. We have a journal publishing platform as well. This is the Journal of Post-Secondary Student Success. It's sort of partnership between the libraries and the Center for Post-Secondary Success and the Provost Office at FSU. They publish quarterly, and they use our journal publishing platform, Open Journal Systems, to publish their issues. So we support them in a variety of ways, but you can sort of see here a little bit about what it looks like. There's, you can include an abstract, you can include an HTML version of your article as well as a PDF, and there's a little bit of information about usage, views, and downloads. So again, always interested to work with people affiliated with FSU who are interested in launching journals or even transitioning. You might be, serving on a journal editorial board that's using a different platform, and maybe you're unhappy with that and are interested in trying something new. We'd love to speak with you. I did want to give a quick shout out to our digital repository, DigiNull. This, can also serve as like maybe a more lightweight publishing platform. There are a lot of research centers and institutes at FSU that use this for publishing what we librarians call gray literature. So anything that you might be writing that you want to be available online, but you aren't planning to submit for a sort of formal publication in a book or a journal. So, reports of one kind or another are a good example of that. And it's very easy to, submit a document for publication in DigiNull. We again can assign digital object identifiers, and there's a lot of information in this system about usage and engagement with the work that's made available in DigiNull. So if your work does have a digital object identifier, there's an integration with this tool called Altmetric, which will tell you a little bit about engagement, in broader engagement beyond just citations. So mentions of a work in news media, blogs, Twitter, Facebook, and that kind of thing. And finally, I wanted to also mention our Open Access Publishing Fund. So the funding for this is expended currently as we're approaching the end of this fiscal year, but it will be renewed July 1st. And then we'll reopen the application form for this, but essentially it's available to anyone who's affiliated with FSU who wants to publish a journal article in an open access journal. You may know that many of open access journals do assess fees to authors. That's sort of their business model, many of them anyway. Instead of charging subscriptions for readers to access content, they instead charge authors a fee in order to publish their article, and then that article is made openly available to the world. So through this fund, anyone at FSU can receive up to $1,500 per fiscal year to either cover or help cover the cost of publishing in an open access journal. There's a few eligibility requirements. Most of them are related to like the flavor of open access. And I don't know how much detail to get into here, but suffice it to say that some publishers have hopped on the open access bandwagon as sort of like a money-making opportunity, and they're continuing to charge libraries subscription fees while also charging at least some of their authors fees to publish their particular article open access in an otherwise subscription access journal. And as you might imagine, librarians aren't too keen on that. We see it as sort of like double dipping, or just, getting paid, the publishers getting paid twice for the same service. So that's a good example of, like, just a practice that we don't support through this fund. But yeah, the funding for this has grown over the years. We have usually around $70,000 each year. And this is the first year in a while that we have spent it all before the end of the year. But yeah, again, open access is becoming ever more popular, and we're seeing increasing demand, and we'll be reaching out to more and more partners to try and build up a bigger fund next year to meet that demand. And that's everything that I had. So thank you very much, and I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you for that fantastic overview, Devin. I know this was a lot of information, and I think one thing we were also hoping to impart to all of you is that we are both available as resources and as support if you have any questions. So I'll make sure when I share this recording to share our emails as well. And we encourage you to reach out to us. We'd be happy to do one-on-one meetings to talk about your specific research projects or anything we can really do to support the teaching faculty at our international study centers. So I'm going to stop recording now and open it up to questions. Thank you.